Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're going to work on some pages for a photographic style journal. I have a pouch that I've showed you before that's over there. I've picked out about 14 pages and they're mostly neutrals. Like I've got a wood grain on here. There's a tea dye. There's a crinkle one, but they're mostly just browns. That one's got a little blue in it. So I have a couple back here. It's got some blues. And then I've got some more kind of neutrals. And I've got a couple blacks. So we're going to take those. And I've got a couple stencils here. I think this one kind of looks like a photograph lens, and a camera. And then this one, could, when you take the photo, you got the flash. I'm thinking that would look like a flash. Over here, I've got a stencil back in here that I may use with the black texture paste. And then I've got a couple of little star flashes here that I may just stamp in a few spots. And then I have a whole stack of stamps. I've got a few film strips on here. I've got like this little photographic kind of thing there. I'm thinking I may use the grungy stamp here for the... And then I've got the crackle. And over here I've got a few flash bulbs. And I may use the numbers. I don't know. And I've got a flash bulb on here. And I think that was it. Yeah. So not too many. I've even got like a strip here with a star on it. That might be good. So, yeah, we're going to do that. So let me get these all figured out. We're going to do the sneaky peek. Oh, I had another page. Whoops. This one's kind of cool. It's got like almost like you'd put salt on it when it's wet. It's got that kind of a look to it. And I have no idea how I made it. It was out in the yard. So, okay, let me get the book up here to do our sneaky peek. And I have just not had much oomph to do anything lately. Are you guys the same? I'm not in the mood to do much of anything but watch TV or read. And I just don't know if that's spring fever or what that could be considered. I want to thank everybody for coming to visit and to see what I'm going to show you today. It's just going to be a little bit of fun. Just kind of decking out my papers that I'm going to put into the journal. It'll be a journal. Here we go. Now this is my dad right here in his little white suit. Isn't he cute? Now Grandma made his clothes for him. I'm trying to cover up this glare here. Let's see if I can... Where is that glare coming from? Oh, it's from my camera. I can't hide it. But here we go. This is Uncle Robert, Uncle Bob, right here. He's holding a doll. And then we got Lily right there. And I don't know what she's looking at. And these 4 children are Aunt Elizabeth's. So that's their sister's children. Aunt Elizabeth was the firstborn. So she, was much older than... And Dad and Lily, they were like the last 2. But this was down on C Street in Stanton. It was just above the Lockridge's Market. And I wrote down wrong info at the end. Okay. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. So at this point, everyone had started to go to Baltimore, Maryland to work. It was one of the closest large-sized cities, and Aunt Lucy, Uncle Howard, and Bob all went to get a job there. Let's see, Aunt Irene was still at home, and she had got a job up the street here with Mr. Witten, and he did potato chips in his basement. Had a big old crock of, grease or whatever, and he would cook the potato chips, and they said you could smell it all over that street. Now, I wrote here that Mr. Witten sold their business to Kitchen Cook potato chips. That's a local potato chip that's really popular, but he didn't. He actually did build a business down in town, and I've gotten the the write-up or something for that I found in the paper. So, I don't know. I'll figure that out and put it in here eventually. Now, over here is Ruth and Dell and then little Tommy. And down here, these are people that visited, I guess, the home on C Street with Grandma is Janet and Helen Webb. That's Aunt Delphi's two daughters. I wrote that this photo was taken just before Uncle Bob entered the service in March of 1943. He joined in Baltimore. And then I said who was here. Now, they lived in Bath County, so they came across the mountain to come visit. Dad's wearing his little white suit. And Dad said, when I looked back at all my school pictures, I only saw 3 that were store-bought clothes. The rest she made by hand. And I said, if you followed the road on the left side of this photo, it would take you a few houses up to Mr. Witten's, who did the potato chips. And Dad said the whole street smelled wonderful. Okay. And then over here we have, this is Marie Webb and Pup. She came down to visit. Now, you could find this, this door is no longer there, but this weird-shaped entryway that the door was at, you can see it right here. That's still there. So I was able to find the actual house that they lived in up there. I guess you can see it better here. And this is Uncle Fred and his brother's new wife, Josephine. And right here, I thought that was somewhere else. I think it was a D-bus place, people told me. And this is Grandma Rhoda, and then her daughter Elizabeth, her husband Kurt, and Uncle Howard. It's kind of not in too much, yeah, it's kind of not focused well. But anyhow, so we're going to stop there. Oh. I leaned that on the arm of my camera holder here. Okay, so let me get that back up and get it kind of positioned where we can start working on our pages. Now, first off, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of stenciling. I'll set this one up here out of the way. All right, we're going to start out using crossed, which is this one. It looks like little flashes, and that's THSO90. And I'm going to use my Scorched Timber. I've got Scorched Timber, Vintage Photo, Ground Espresso. We're going to use just, neutral. We're going neutrals. I do have black, but since I'm going to use black with the with that piece over there, I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. And I'm just kind of swirling that on there. And we're going to try to do a little Vintage Photo as well to give it a little bit of a warm shade. So it's going to have a mixture. Whoops. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Yep, that's not too bad. And then we'll go over here and do a little bit more up in this corner. And I'm just going to use Vintage Photo on this part. Yeah, and I'm going to go over this probably with something else as well. So, there we go. And I might just do that over here. Continue that up in a different color. Yeah. Alright, and then we will do the same to another piece here. Like this one, and we'll use Vintage Photo on that as well. Yeah, I don't know. We finally got a little rain last night. Everybody else has been telling me about rain. Poor Miss Tommy, paper crafting with Miss Tommy. She said they've been having tornadoes and all kinds of other stuff down her way in Missouri. And we barely got any rain. We just had last night. That was about the only time I remember it raining. Now, over in West Virginia, where I usually go, oh, they've been having more flooding And I was told a while back by the guys at the Dairy Queen that the reason the flooding happens so much is because of the way they've been coal mining. I don't know if it was because of that mountaintop removal that they've started to do or what the situation was. And, you know, I do have the backside of these papers, but I'm wondering if I'm even going to worry about that. Okay, so we're going to put this away to the side, and we're going to start using this, which is linked circles. That's the one I told you I felt looked like a camera. Now I might go ahead and use the ground espresso on this one. Do I have, yeah, rounded top for that. I really like these rounded tops. They do, you know, go on there a lot better, smoother. They get down into the little pockets better. I'm trying to get that to work straight. It wasn't straight. Okay. This is just going to go on just kind of willy-nilly. Yeah, I do want to get over here and make it look like it's not, you know, stopping. Yeah, like that. And I think I'm going to flip it and do it on this side. Now this is the one that's got the lined look like it's wood. That's where I stuck it out on the deck, and it was really hot that day. And I dipped it and threw it on the deck, and it was dry within 5 minutes. It was amazing. And we got an old deck. I mean, it's not treated hardly at all, and so it gave a great impression. Now I'm going to find one more to do this with, maybe this one. And I'll use the same color, just to give it a little something around the outside edge here. Yeah, I kind of like that. I don't like when it takes over the whole background. I think that looks good. So let's do this side as well. Yep. Yeah, thought Mom had an appointment today. She said, "Oh, what are you doing down here?" I said, "You've got an appointment at 1. And she said, "Oh, no, they changed it." I said, "Well, when were you going to tell me?" I thought you were still sleeping. I like, it's almost time to leave. It's a wonder she hadn't gotten on the phone and said something to me, but I said, "Oh, well, let's go to Verona and get something to eat since I'm up and at it." Oh. Okay, so we have that. And I think that's all I'm going to do with these 2 stencils. I think the rest of these, plus whatever I got over there, I'm going to hit with some of these. And I like the little light bulb because it reminds me, now this is the Inspector CMS 465, because I feel like the light bulb goes with the, you know, general theme. Now that's to say I might not even decorate all of these over here. I might not have to. Now we're going to go with, like I said, the light bulb. And this one I'm not going to have to do anything with because that's that wrinkled piece. So I'll set that to the side. And I will go in here, on here, and I need to get a block. And I got to figure out what I'm going to use to stamp with. Maybe that. So let's go ahead and put this down. And then, can you see me? I'm doing that. And then I'm going to put this service on here as well. This doesn't feel like it wants to stick too well. All right, let's try this. Oops. Scorched timber. Because it's wetter. Now I can get in here with my VersaFine, which is nice and wet. But I wanted to see if I could do something with distress. Okay, let's go ahead and put that right up here. I think my service is crooked. Okay. There we go. See if I can get that down. Yep, I think that looks good. Now, let's find another one to do that too. And I think it's going to be one of these. That service won't stay straight. There. Alright, so let's get this on here. There we go. Yep. Yeah, today it's overcast, but we have a spring feel. You know how you can kind of tell that it's springy feeling out there? That's what I'm liking. You can get a little bit of out of the air. All right, I'm going to put the service part away, and I think I don't know what do I want to do next. Here's a register. I kind of like this big gear thing here, so I might even use that. All right, let's see if we can put one of these light bulbs on another one. Maybe like this one. I'll put that on this side. Yeah. There we go. Put this away. And this away. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use this. I love this big guy here. I don't know what that would have to do with taking pictures, but it might look like one of those timing devices, maybe. Let's see if I can rub that on here like that. Okay. Let's see what we can get over here on this side. Like that. Ooh. I don't know how much ink I got on there, so I'm pushing pretty good. Oh, I got enough. Look at that. That turned out good. Okay. So that's probably all I need to do. That page. I think I'm going to do one more of these gears or timers, whatever I want to call it. Straighten it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and put on scorched timber again, since it does so well. Okay. I watched 2 movies last night on Tubi. And the second one, it was okay. It was called The Thaw. And it had Val Kilmer in it. It must have been a more recent one, because he was kind of old in this one. Some kind of parasite from... It came out of a woolly mammoth, and it was, you know, getting into everybody and laying eggs. It was one of those. And then there was... the first one I watched was so good. It was called Gifted. And it was this little girl, and she was a mathematics genius. And her father, well, it wasn't her father, it was her uncle. He's the guy that plays Captain America. If you've ever seen the recent Marvel Comics movies. So he was the brother to her mother, who was also a mathematics genius. And there's supposed to be about 7 of these formulas that I guess help society and such that were needing to be solved. And the mother of the two, she pushed and pushed and pushed her daughter to do this and never let her be a child, never let her have fun. Made her do, and then whenever she fell in love with this one little boy. Well, he was, 19 or 20, but anyway, she didn't like that, so she got him in trouble. So it all come down to, I guess it was too much pressure on the girl, and she killed herself. It wasn't much long after she had the baby. And so anyway, she wanted her brother to raise the baby because she knew what her mother would do to her if she turned out to be, that brilliant. So it was where he taught her as much. He wasn't as smart, but he was pretty smart. So he had taught the little girl how to, I'm going to flip this around and put it this way, how to do things. And he ended up having to put her in school when she was 7. And she didn't want to go to school. She just wanted to stay home. But he says, I've taught you everything I could teach you. He said, I'm going to have to put you in school. Well, he puts her in this regular school. And it's like she was getting really bored. It was 2nd grade. And the teacher was giving these, well, for her, very easy things to learn. And ended up, she was very, very bored. So the teacher started asking her these different equations. So, well, she mostly just did, adding. And then she gave her a multiplication thing that would take, it was like 4 or so digits. And it took her about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe not even that long, to figure it out. And it ended up being where, and I think I'm going to just hold this in my hand, but it ended up being where she did figure it out. It was like, it was about 4 digits. And then she told her what it was squared on this other, and the teacher's like, she grabs a hold of him when he comes to pick her up. Oh no, she shouted at the principal. That's right. The principal comes in, wants to know, all these things, and the little girl says, so you're the boss? She says, get me out of here. So he has to come pick her up. And so the teacher runs up to him and says, I think your daughter or your niece is gifted, and all of this stuff, and wants to send her to some school. And the principal kicks in there after a little bit, a day or two, and wants to do the same thing. And he's not having it. So they get into her file, and they find out who her grandmother is. And they get a hold of her. So all this stink happens, where they take him to court and all this other stuff. And she has this cat that she loves. He's one-eyed orange tabby cat. And so the way the court ends up, they have her at a house that's only a half an hour away. He gets to go visit her every, once or weekend of a month or something. And then the foster family is supposed to be taking care of her. And he asked them before he ever agreed with them if the cat was going to be a problem. And they said no. So he thought it was safe to take the cat and leave his daughter or niece there. And ends up the teacher is at a different library. I don't know, about a week or so out. And finds out that there's a thing on there about adopting certain animals, and that cat is on there. She knew what the cat looked like because she was having a little ta-da, with the uncle. So anyhow, they pick out this one next. So yeah, they end up, she sends a text to the uncle because he won't pick up. He's kind of depressed about the whole thing. And he sees that. So he runs over there. And sure enough, his mother is in the carport outhouse. Not outhouse. It was like where the vehicles are, but it's like a studio apartment on the top. Well, the mother, or the grandmother, is out there, has these two tutors, trying to teach the girl stuff and doing this and doing that. Well, I don't think she was even supposed to be around her. But, yeah. So he finds all that out. Well, come to happen that the daughter, the one that she had that committed suicide, she actually had solved that problem that her mother had wanted her to solve. She never did tell her mother, though. You know. So it makes you wonder. So well, that's not too bad. Yeah, so so anyhow, they so he gives it to her, gives it to his mother, and said she solved it. And the mother's like saying, well, why did she wait? And he said it wasn't to be published until after the passing. He says the passing. And the mother says, well, she's been dead for 6 years. He goes, it wasn't her passing she was talking about. It was about the mother. So he says, this is yours. It's going to take you 2 or 3 years to back up all of her findings and everything. And so he says, so I'm taking my niece back. I'm taking her back home. So he did. He ended up putting her in this special school that the first teachers had told him about. So she went there for part of the time, and then she got to do other child-related things, like he had her in the brownies. So he was taking her to the brownies that one day. So he was trying to get her to live a normal life as much as possible. Whereas the grandmother was just thinking of glory and having your name up on, you know, this wall somewhere. But it was so good. The little girl was good. I'm trying to think what I've seen her in. I've seen her in something before, and I just couldn't remember what. But it was so good. Gifted. It's called Gifted. It's much better than the second one I watched, Thaw. Yeah, it was like one of those, what do they call that? B-rated or something. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to have fun with this. I think I'm going to go this way now. Maybe I'll do one more. There. That's kind of fun. All right. So I'm going to pick one more. I mean, these aren't like earth-shattering things that I'm doing. But, I mean, they'll add to each page. These will be journaling pages, or I'll probably maybe put something on each page. Some kind of a piece of ephemera that I've made. I had quite a few things in that little baggie over there. All right. I think I should have started a little further up on this other end, but oh no, I have just enough room. Just enough room. So that's sort of an edge. I think that looks good. Let's do another one of those. So yeah. Yeah, I was watching Scandal And I don't know. I tried to watch it a little more last night, and it's just, I don't know. It's gotten to a part of the series, and I'm not that crazy about it. I don't like where she's all mean and just trying to find dirt on everybody to make everybody do what she wants. I just don't think. I'm sure the White House is exactly like that. But I'm not interested in seeing that now. I mean, she burned all of her boats. She was the mistress to the president. Well, she's not anymore. He's out of office now, and he's living up in Vermont. And he has a home up there that he wanted her to live in with him, but I don't think she chose to. All right, I think we're done with this. So let me see about wiping that off a little bit, and we'll put that back away. There we go. All right, that one's done. All right, I decided to use this one as well. It's like a coffee mug. Now, this is called Mini Muse. It's CMS 063. I forgot to tell you that. But yeah, I want to use this one, and I'm going to see about putting it onto here. It's got the circles, which, you know, it's very muted on here, which is fine. I'm good with that. So we're going to stick one over here. And I'll stick one in here somewhere. Just to add a little bit of interest, you know. It's got a lot happening on these pages already, but I thought that would add a little bit to it. And I've got this one here. Let me go ahead and add a little bit of that on here. There we go. Now, what's next? Okay, next we're using Shattered, CMS 466. One of my faves. Okay. We're going to, since we're on a lighter piece of paper, we're going to use the Vintage Photo. And we're just going to kind of dab the whole thing and see what shows up. Kind of go right here with it. Since it's light, and this, I wanted Vintage Photo to be a light kind of pattern on it as well. Yeah, adds a little bit to it. It needed a little bit of something. Plus, I've got some other pages that's got like a Vintage Photo look to it. So it'll help combine those together. Okay. Let's do that over here. There we go. See this page right here? I might even put it on this page. But see, it's got sort of the same tones. What did I have here? Oh, I got one more. Let's just do two more. How about that? So, there. So I'm actually going to go up to the top and do it there. Yep. Just got a little crackle to it. It needs something because it's too smooth. Just too smooth. And this one, I mean, you can layer and layer and layer to your heart's content in things like this. And I'm going to go up above the light bulbs. There. Here we go. I like it. I like it. All right, next on the list is this one, which is a kind of a speckled design. It's from Foreboding, CMS 470. And we're just going to kind of use it in the corners in a few places. Like this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and see if this This ground espresso might come out. Might try to rub it on here. Sometimes if you rub, you get a better impression. It just happens that way. We're going to put it like down here in the corner. Oh, really speckly. Okay. And we're going to do it to where it's kind of wrapped around that. Yeah, I like that. That works out. We don't have anything on this side, so let's add a little bit over here. Kind of down here in the corner. Yeah. Now, who's to say I don't come back and maybe put some words or some stamped phrases or something will go there. Don't worry. Something will fill out the rest of this. It may be, like I said, the ephemera. I've got a little bit of ephemera that I've made up. So, let's do that. Sometimes you don't need that much. Now, I think I'm going to... what am I going to do? I don't know whether I want to use vintage photo on here. Let's try it. Let's see what we get. Ooh, I think it still had a little bit of that brown on it. That's why it looks like that. Okay. I've been keeping up with my Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively stuff on my phone. Oh my gosh. I don't know if anybody else is... That's that It Begins With Us, about that movie. And I haven't watched the movie, but I did watch some clips of it. Because I was so curious about it. I just did not know what to think about the whole thing, what the big stink was about. So I got on there and I checked it out. And it's supposed to be about domestic violence. So the thing was, Blake takes over. He's the director and bought the rights to the film and everything. Blake takes it all over. And she was known to do that from the past. And I'm just kind of... And then she's been lying about him being, you know, whatever she's blaming him for. And it seems like Ryan Reynolds has added his 2 cents, which isn't worth a millisecond, to the whole mix. So I hope they get it. I hope they get it. Just so disgusted with how they've treated him and how they've done the whole scenario. Ugh. Okay. So there is what I'm going to add there. But I do want to get in here. I need to use up some more of this texture paste here. So we're going to do that. We're going to use that stencil. And I may even put some on some of these type of pages just to add a little bit. And it's going to be that stencil in the background. Okay, it seems to still be a little soft. So we're going to try to use as much of this as we can on this project here. So we're going to go ahead and go in here and do a little bit of the stars. And I'm going to scrape it as good as I can here. Try to fill in as many of the stars as I can. There we go. Oh, that looks good. I like that. it needed that little bit. And then the black, you know how cameras are mostly black. That will add in that element. So let's see what we can do here. I did really like this black texture paste. Now it's called just Black Opaque. It's got a TSHK 84471. So I don't know if that's the number or what, but it really come in handy when I was doing bats. If you're into the Halloween look or gothic look, this is a really good one for that. All right, I'm going to come up through here. All right. Let's see what we got there. There we go. Let me put that to the side to dry. And grab our next one. I'm going to do the black ones here with it. I'm going to put it this way this time. Some of this is dried up down in here, so I've got to use it. That is one of my pet peeves, wasting my money. So I've got to do this. I've got a few other little canisters over there that I guess get to using. Okay. Flip that one up. That looks really good on that black because it kind of ties in. Okay. My Surreal Estate is getting ready to come back on. That's another show a series that I was watching. And me and Zach got onto it because it's like a kind of a spooky, ghosty kind of a thing. But man, it took forever for the next season to ever come back. I think this might be the 3rd season, but it sure took it a long time. We thought maybe they canceled it. You never can tell. All right, let's see what we got here. Stick that one right there. See what we can smear off of here. Yeah, you get used to watching stuff and then boom, they decide they don't like it or don't want to carry it again. I had this dinosaur one I was loving watching, and it's like these ranches out in the West, like Wyoming, and I don't know, there was North Dakota, I think was one of them, but they had cattle, but the cattle prices were continually going down, and so these ranchers were going out and finding these dinosaur bones to compensate, to help pay the bills on the ranch and keep themselves afloat, pay the taxes, etc. I'm gonna have to. I've still got the two seasons that were on. I've saved them on my TV. It was Dino something. It wasn't Dino Wars. I know it wasn't that. It was something, though, that had to do with dino in it. Oh. But, I mean, they would explain about the different dinosaurs. They would show, like, pictures and diagrams of what they were finding and where it was on the dinosaur. I loved it. You know, me, I love dinosaurs anyway. So it was just a shame. And then me and Roger used to watch this one on the Weather Channel. And it was about these people going out, and they had, I guess you would call it, mineral rights to places they paid for, like, to have, they had different mines. Like, some had these turquoise mines, and some had, opal mines. There was different ones. Maybe not opal. I think that's mostly Australia. But it was so interesting. I mean, this one person, it took them hours to get up there. And it was way up. And then if it started to have really bad weather, they had to come back. I mean, they might have just got there, and then the bad weather hit, and they had to come back. So it was kind of different, you know. You had just a small window. And some people, the whole family did it. One lady, she was a single mother. So she was doing it to pay for her children, you know, to keep her children healthy and going to school and clothed and fed. Oof, that one's kind of small, isn't it? Okay. See what else we got here. I'm trying not to get it outside of the bounds that I want it. Like there, that kind of did. I have a little piece of tissue here I can wipe that up with. If I can add a little bit more right here to kind of extend that. Okay, that worked. All right, let's see, what else? Okay, this one needs a little bit down here. Oops, yeah, that's good. I didn't want it to be too big. I just want it to be kind of where the speckles are. Okay. Yep, like that. I think I got one more I want to do like that. Trying to wipe up some that I already got on my table. Okay. Oops, this is one. I'm going to rub some right there. I got to get in there and wash my stencil here. Ugh. Oh, I didn't get that much on there. Because my stencil's starting to dry, I guess, where that's touching. Okay, so I'm going to have to stop. Okay, so we're going to look over what I've got. Here we go. I have some speckles here. The black texture paste, it didn't take so well because my corners were getting filled up. And we have a stencil. We got a stamp over here with a light bulb on it. And some more of the speckles and such. We have these, which don't have any of the texture paste, so I can lay these all on top of each other. So I've got that. That's one of those crinkle wrinkle papers that I do. Here's one with the film strip and a photograph kind of stamp on it. Here's one that's got like a gauge, which I thought could be like a timer. A row of numbers, like it's counting down. We have the crackle stencil with more film strip. And the same thing here. We have another set of numbers and crackle. The light bulb, and then the photograph. And that's all on that side. This is crackle and more light bulbs. And then more light bulbs. And then there's a light bulb and another one of those gauges. And the ones that I've got over here are these. I've got like a coffee ring and the texture paste. Then you can see my grass that's on the back. This has the same thing. So we can leave that laying here to kind of dry. There's 2 more pages. This one's got the kind of a star with the texture paste and a grunge stamp. I don't think there's anything on that side, so I can lay that one there. This one has the edges done and the grunge stamp and more of the stars. Let's see if I can lay that a certain way. There we go. And then we have 2 more pages. I think I had 14 altogether. So I've got this one. It's got the coffee ring and the stars. And I think that's also on that side. And then stamping, grunge, and the stars. So there we go. So that's got us started on our prep for the photograph journal. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this and just kind of hanging out with me while I talked about my TV shows I've been watching. All right, everybody have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.